Hey guys, and welcome to game number 44 out of 100 of the Mack vs. Machine series, where I'll be playing 100 games of Scrabble against the top online bot, HastyBot. We've sustained a couple of rough losses the last few games, so we have fallen now to 29 and 14 in the series, but still in very good position, so let's see if we can get back on track here in game 44. HastyBot is first and opens with Bound. So we'll want to watch out for extensions like Airbound, potentially, and Potbound later on in the game. Don't believe we have any of them available now. Not a bad rack, just a little bit too consonant heavy. Amongst is not quite a double-double. Mustang, probably just something with a bound is going to be best. Probably just Matt. G and S is, normally I don't like G's, but with the N, this is not too bad. Especially if I can pick up an I, this leaf becomes extremely strong. So probably the best play. I don't have a good way to get rid of the G. I'm certainly not going to play Tank or something like that. It's a few less points, and G and S isn't really much worse, if at all, than MTS, I don't think. Maybe slightly worse. But yeah, I like Matt. Okay, he plays Divot. Still struggling a little bit with consonants here. Nix, I have to imagine, will be best. 26, yeah, AG, NPS. Would like to have one more vowel, but if I can pick up a vowel, especially an I, I'll be in very good shape to hopefully bingo next turn. Hard to imagine. I mean, I guess there is packs, though. I mean, that's a lot of points. 36? 36 versus 26? So 10 points. I don't know. GAPSN is a lot better than GNNS. That's just so constant heavy. And now, at least with this rack, with the P, I have more potential to score. That way, it's a little bit of insurance. If I don't pick up a bingo, I'm just in a lot of a stronger position to score something, rather than after GNNS, it's like if I don't pick up 2 or 3 vowels in bingo, I'm probably going to be scoring almost nothing. So I think Nix has to be correct. Okay, he exchanges 3, and we have Soaping, so a nice draw for us here. We're clearly going to be playing Soaping. Really, the question is where. So there's, I guess, 3 options. Number 1 is with Mats, which scores 77. Number 2 is with Divots, which scores 74. And then number 3, which looks considerably worse, is with a Bounds, which scores 72. Probably no reason not to just play it with Mats. It's actually, I think, the most defensive, too, because the other ones give back a lot more floaters. Yeah, I think this has to be right. I don't really think there's much of a reason to consider sacrificing the points here. Alright, he plays Udo, and not a bad rack. Unfortunately, Antivert was blocked by our previous bingo. Don't think we have anything to this D, or through this D and this N. I think Advertent might be good. I'm not positive about that. I think Advertent is good, but it doesn't play anyway. So thankfully I don't have to decide whether I want to risk playing it. Can't imagine there's anything through this N and this I. Don't believe there's any 9s in that rack. Invertate. No, it's just Invertase anyway. Yeah, I don't think I have any bingos, so probably just... I guess I have a few options. I can play Vet for 20. I can play Vet here for 18, which probably doesn't really make sense. Or I can play Vert for 28. Do I have anything from this N? If I can play something like ENV here, that would score a lot, but I don't think such a play is available. Definitely not worth it to play Nerve or Never. Keeping ATT is quite weak compared to any of the other leaves. I kind of like... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't see... Is there a merit to playing Vet here over Vet here? I guess this Vet does give back a nice bingo line on top, overlapping the E and the T. Of course, he could also bingo hooking Ox, but that's slightly harder to do, I think, than hooking an E and a T. I do have a bit of a lead. I do also like the idea of taking out this D and the S hook at least with Vet. I guess Vert maybe. No, I was looking at Vert just because it makes it a little bit harder for him to overlap, but this takes an S and also a U. So I don't think that actually really helps me. It's a big equity sacrifice. But this way, I also put myself in good position to maybe overlap next turn if he can't, and then start closing the board. I do really like the idea of closing down the D too, because that will score a lot if he bingos there. Vert is 8 more points, but AETR is really strong. AET is strong too. Yeah, that's a close call. AET plus 8 points versus AERT. It's probably pretty close, to be honest, from an equity standpoint. But I think I like Vet better from a positional standpoint. It does allow some bingos to play that wouldn't have before, but it also stops a lot of bingos from playing that would have before. So it's kind of a trade-off. But I feel like when in doubt, I'm going to go ahead and keep the stronger leave too. I'm going to go ahead and play Vet. Okay, so he plays in Arch. So not a bingo, but a pretty good score. Not the draw I wanted here. QOY. Yikes. I think I'll probably just have to play Cot. I mean, at least I'm scoring a little bit and also taking out that big scoring spot he just created. If I could double the Y here, that would probably be worth it. I don't think I can. Like Toei or something. Odie. Troy doesn't work because of RI. I don't think I can. There's also this Ohm hook I'd like to watch out for. Can't really do very much there now. I don't think I have a spot to play Trank. I always have to remind myself to look for Trank because I've had a history of missing that word. Just like Sank, C-I-N-Q, but I don't think either of those are going to work. Yeah, probably just Cot. I mean, at least it takes away that spot. It scores 29. EORY, not a great leave, but I've seen far worse. So, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, he plays Fought. Another pretty big score. Not a terrible rack for us here. Maybe something with Photo? I don't know what we have, though. Nomer. No, that's not good. Maybe with the D, even? Dino. No, maybe not. Enormic. Yeah, I don't think we actually have anything there. How about with Ohm? I guess Oi is an option because Crime is a strong leave. I'd like to score more than 23 points. Oh, we have Meiotic here. Yeah, that's 39. Also closes down. It does get back the M, but closes down the Vet parallels that I was worried about earlier. Yeah, that's a lot of points. It also turns over some more tiles for the blanks. I feel like that's got to be the play. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and play that. Alright, he plays Insight, and we have now Ferreyers for a lot. That's 97, and not really much else to think about. He gets down Yes, though. This is still a game, because that was a lot. That was 68. We'd have Reveille, however you pronounce that, R-E-V-E-I-L-L-E, with a V, but no V's on the board. Or at least not on the board in a spot where we could bingo through them, I should say. So what do we want to do? There's still 2 blanks out. So this we are up 70, which is nice. I'd rather be up 70 than down, but this is far from over. Trust me. This could turn very quickly with the Ohm hook and 2 blanks, and I'm not going to be scoring that much here. I would like to play a lot of tiles, because this is not a position where I want to have a lot of one-pointers. I want to go for the blanks, or at least maybe a K or something to score with to counteract a bingo. So I guess I could go with Lee. It's okay. It just doesn't really feel like it accomplishes that much. I'd still like to play off at least 1, if not 2 more tiles if I can. Not dying to play Ilier, though. That gives back a lot. I probably just need to concede that this board is going to be open, though, because, I mean, there's the Ohm hook, there's the bottom, there's the right. There's just a lot of real estate that's open here. So I probably need to concede that and not really try to be too paranoid here. I don't really have much here, do I? Like, LEI is obviously terrible. Yeah, I don't have anything there. Yeller. Rezeil is terrible. Yeah, I guess I just don't have a lot of great options here. I mean, EILR looks like a good leave, and it's not bad. It doesn't work that well because there's an ENC and there's still 5 more to draw. Or, not unseen, sorry. There's an E floating on the board. There's another R. It just isn't actually that good. Like, something like AINT would almost actually work a lot better with the floaters here. So I really don't like Lee. It feels like it doesn't accomplish anything. I think if I'm going to do that, I'm better off playing real, because keeping the R is not worth 8 points here with an R floating. And now at least I'm playing off another tile and I'm scoring more. I'd love to make my word go one square further to the left, because then that would obstruct Ohm. But unfortunately, I just don't have a good way of doing that. I'm not going to... I can't even do that. I was going to say something like... I don't know... Eerie there, but that doesn't even work. Yeah, I mean, what could I even do? I'm not going to play lie over here. That's just, again, that's way too big a point sacrifice. I'm not up enough. There's plenty of places where you could bingo for 80 and tie the game elsewhere on the board. I can't afford to be too paranoid about Ohm. So I think just real. I mean, at least it scores. It scores the best I can. Yeah, alright, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I don't... Wait. That plays AHE. Have I been looking at AHE the whole time? That's hilarious, because I was looking at Lee before, wasn't I? Both of these plays make AHE. What the heck am I doing? Wow. Okay, yeah, let's go back to the drawing board here, guys. I almost just played AHE. That's a first. Wow. What the heck? Okay. Yeah, I don't know why. Something... I think I just had that the... I was, or something, I was playing an I for AHI. I don't even know what I was doing there, but okay. Now I'm getting low on time, too, after wasting all that time almost playing AHE. Jeez. I'm going to give myself a little slap on the forehead for that, because I deserve it. And now let's get back down to business and figure out what I actually want to play that's valid. I mean, so I can play LEI. But I don't really like that. Maybe real over here then. Yeah, how about just real over there? Score a bit more, or dump off a few more tiles. It doesn't actually score more than light. And at least makes some effort at closing a little bit on the top right, I feel like, too, which is not a bad thing. I mean, the RE is pretty easy to get a 9 from, though, so it doesn't actually do that much. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't really like any of my options here, to be honest. But I feel like with 2 blanks, when in doubt, you're better off playing off more tiles. I mean, maybe even Yeller. Or Elier. I can't imagine it's right to give back that 7 line, though. That doesn't make sense. Yeller keeping EI. I don't know. I'm just going to go with real. It's not a great play, I don't think, but I don't see anything else, and I have 2 minutes left now, so I do need to move more quickly.
Invalid command.
Whoops. Sorry, guys, that's weird. I must have still had the blindfold mode on and clicked the semicolon from an earlier game. Sorry for that sound. Okay, so he plays fluked. Yeah, I'm getting very low on time, unfortunately. What do I do? I have the O now, which is good. Rough draw of JUW, though. Don't really want to play Joe. I'll probably just Owie. Yeah, I think I like Owie just to close down that spot. I don't want to keep WU. I'm going to be up 90 after this. The board is now starting to get shut, so I feel pretty good, even with JUL here. Plays Goer, which I'm happy to see, because now there's starting to actually be very few spots to bingo. Yeah, maybe if I just block this E, like, where is he really? I guess he has this C. I wish I had more time. Opal, do I have something there? No. JEU, Gene? That's pretty bad. I do want to get rid of this J, though, since it feels like it's maybe unjam. I don't want to just play Jun. Let's play unjam just to get rid of the J. Down to 39 seconds. This is getting a bit stressful. He plays Boa. I have Weddling. Okay. That was a much-needed stroke of luck there. I don't care if he bingoes out, I will still win. Yeah, that was going to be very dicey to hold, I think. I mean, I probably would have had to play off like 1 or 2 tiles and try to outrun him in an endgame with very little time on the clock. So yeah, we'll look at that a little bit more closely. But yeah, mostly the end of that game was set up by me wasting 3 minutes debating 2 plays that both made an invalid 3. So yeah, not sure what to say about that, guys, but it happens. I mean, sometimes you're just looking at something funny, and yeah, at least I didn't actually play it. That's all I can say. But let's go ahead and take a look, especially towards the end of the game, because I'm sure I made some mistakes. He plays Bound. Maggot is an option, which I didn't really look at too much, but I think Matt is better. It just gives back a lot less to him, and GNS is a fine lead, especially, like I said, if I draw an eye, I'll be in great shape, and Maggot gives back this huge X-Bomb opportunity, or just other big 30, 40-point plays, too, that Matt doesn't give back. So I think Matt's got to be the play. Divot looks good for him. Not shocked to see Pax rank higher on equity. Not by much, though, only by 0.7 of a point. So that tells you that, according to at least HastyBot's measure of static equity, GNNS is 9.3 points worse than AGNPS. But like I said, this sleeve is so much better because not only is it more balanced and more likely to bingo, it also puts me in better position to score if I don't bingo. So I think that's got to be the play. He trades. Yeah, I would have gotten rid of another vowel here, or I'm sorry, another consonant, because there just aren't any places to bingo through vowels here. ANRT with a D being your main floating tile to work with, maybe an N is not a great leave, so I would trade down to ART if I were him in this case. Soaping clearly the play here. I blocked duration, so that is fortuitous for me. Udo looks like a good play. Yep, not shocked to see Vert come up on top on the static. 8 points. Yeah, maybe that was a little bit too much to give up. I maybe got a little bit too fancy there playing Vet instead of Vert. I think the positional considerations are a bit debatable because, like I said, if I play Vert and basically leave this spot open, I'm allowing him to bingo hooking Oct with something like Box or Cox. I'm also allowing this D to stay open as well as the Abounds hook. So I do leave a lot open, but of course with Vet I do leave this very glaring, or open up this very glaring line for 7s on row 3, overlapping the E and the T, which isn't great. So there's something to be said for both. I did like the fact that with Vet, if he doesn't hit there, I can maybe start thinking about playing through the T, and that should lead to, I think if I can dodge the bullet for this turn, lead to a more closed board down the road. I also do keep a much stronger leave. AERT is considerably better than AET. Maybe not 8 points better, but considerably better, more likely to bingo. And if I can bingo again, I'll really be putting myself in great position to just start playing defense and walling him in and winning this game. So it's close. I can kind of live with either play here. To be honest, it's probably mostly a stylistic preference. I'm sure there's a lot of strong players who would play Vert. I'm sure there's a lot of strong players who would play Vet. I think either one is fine. Vert is probably a bit more traditional just to take the points and not give back this other lane. But I'm fine with Vet. I could see myself, honestly, it's like legitimately, and I say this not jokingly, like making a different play depending on what day of the week it was or what I had for breakfast that day. Like I think they're both good plays, they both have merits, and they're both reasonable. Like it just sort of depends what style of game you want to go for. And yeah, I think both are quite fine, and like I said, I could see myself going with either of them or being convinced that either of them are better. So Vet in Arch looks like a good play by him. Didn't really miss anything here. Yeah, I could play Oyer, I guess, saving Cot for the next turn. But as I've said many times in this series, I've always been of the philosophy that when in doubt, you should always get rid of the Q. And I say this for experienced players, top players, and also beginners alike. It's just not a tile. I've seen so many players hold on to the Q for 4 or 5 turns, desperately hoping for a 60-point play, and they often even get it in the end, but by the time they get it, they're playing for 15, 20 points, and their opponent either bingos or just keeps scoring 30 or 40, and by the time they even get their QI for 63, if they get it, they're still losing, and ended up netting in the negative after all those turns holding the Q. So unless you can really score a lot while holding the Q, or if you have a U, obviously. I really don't condone holding it in these kind of situations. I think you're much better off just getting rid of it, and then now you have more flexibility for the next turn, and you don't feel like you already have a job to do next turn. Your job, of course, being getting rid of the Q, because you're going to have to get rid of it sooner or later, so if you have a decent way to do it now, the way I look at it is might as well just get the job done so you can focus on more important things on your next turn. But yeah, okay, he plays Fat, which looks good. Meiotic, Mortis is a cool play here, but Meiotic clearly better. Of course, ER a much stronger leave than a Y, so this looks good. Inside, interesting play for him here. So he's scoring and he's opening, but he's keeping FZ. That is not at all what I would have guessed he kept with inside. Yeah, Yez is terrible. I mean, it closes and it keeps DFIIS, which is going absolutely nowhere on this board. So Yez is not the play. Zig is okay. I mean, I think I like inside because FC, he can at least score, and then now he's scoring well too. He's getting within like 40, so his path basically with inside, he's figuring, okay, I'll play this, I'll try to play like Fez or something for 40 next turn, and then get back into the game after. It's not great, but I think I hate Yez. I mean, this is just going nowhere. And Zig doesn't really feel like it's going all that many places. Like, once I close the top, DEFIS, there's very few places to go. I guess but that's going to be hard to hit. So yeah, I think I could be okay with either inside or Zig. Zig, I guess it is nice to leave this line open. Even if you don't hit it immediately, having the S, it also makes it a little bit harder for me to block. I sort of need to have the S or maybe play something with Photo next turn. So this probably is a little bit better for like long-term openness because it's hard for me to close this without giving something back. Whereas with inside, it's very easy for me to just parallel here and shut down the whole bottom of the board. So there is something to be said for that with Zig, and it also just holds on to the S and keeps a better leave. So I don't know, now that I look at that, I'm maybe leaning a bit more towards Zig. Because keeping FZ, you're still down 40, I'm going to score a bit. It's going to take you 2 more turns to bingo. That's really not great. Yeah, you know what? I think I've changed my mind, guys. I think I would have gone with Zig here. I'm not going to say that's like a big mistake by him, but I think I would have gone with Zig. Okay, Ferreyer's obviously, yes, obviously correct. Yeah, and this is the turn I sort of imploded. I spent, I think, like, what did I spend? Yeah, I spent 5 minutes on this turn. I mean, that's insane. I spent 5 minutes debating between 2 plays that both made a phony 3. I mean, I can't be doing that. Like, this is just really bad. Like, I don't care that real is probably a perfectly good play that I ended up making in the end. The fact that I was literally spending 5 minutes, or most of those 5 minutes, when I had 7 minutes on the clock, debating between Lee over here, which would have made AHE, and Real over here, which also would have made AHE. I was literally debating between those 2 plays, and then only after I was just about to hit enter did I notice that they made AHE. So I don't know what the heck got into me there, but it happens sometimes. It doesn't happen often, obviously, but it definitely happens, and that's why you do see, top players accidentally play phony 2s here and there, phony 3s once in a while, and the crazy thing is often they end up going unchallenged because, as people should at that level, they take for granted that their opponents know their 2s and their 3s, and everyone knows their 2s and their 3s. Of course, I know my 3s. I just, for some reason, had in my head that I was playing Ahi and Ope, I think. I just got confused with LEI. And yeah, those kind of things happen, so that's why if you have time, it's always good, whether online or especially over the board in person, just look at your 2s and your 3s. Take 1 or 2 seconds of play if you can. Just look. Make sure they're all valid, because it's never a good feeling to lose your turn on that. By playing a word you knew was invalid that you just accidentally sort of goofed and didn't notice. So I ended up making a reasonable play here. I think real is totally fine. I don't really like Yeller to give back more bingo lines, and it is nice to keep one constant as insurance since there are still a lot of vowels unseen. So I think real, just because of that, and it scores okay and blocks some lanes, I think it's actually a perfectly reasonable play. It just took me like 3 more minutes than it should have to make it, which ended up being very important later in the game. So the only mistake there was the amount of time I spent. But okay, he plays Fluked, which is a play I would be absolutely horrified to make, just given how much it closes down. Greek is so bad, though. FLUR. Wow, I guess he just doesn't have a lot of good options. I still think I'd go with Greek, though. Just, you gotta leave that E open in the bottom. I mean, you're down 90. You're gonna need to bingo and bingo for a lot. And with Greek, I know you don't have the O for OK, but the nice thing is it at least also poses a distraction for me, because I don't know that you don't have an O. And I might end up sacrificing a lot to block there. And then this E actually does work pretty well. You have a good chance to pick up something like Fluorine next turn and score 86. I think I would have gone Greek here instead of Flute, because after Flute, I mean, what are you doing? You're hoping to pick up an O and draw something with Ohm. You're hoping to get, like, I don't even know what from this E. It's not easy to start with an E. I have to imagine your win percentage is better after Greek. I mean, I don't know, but I certainly would have played Greek here. Let's see. Oh, I missed Loue in the corner. I don't think it's the right play, just because there is a lot of merit to blocking Ohm. And this is a notoriously hard word to see, but yeah, it gives back this L and doesn't block Ohm. So for the cost of only 3 points, because now I've sort of shifted gears, right? Before I played Real, the board was very open, but I was surprised to see him play Fluked. And now I do need to adjust a little bit, because all of a sudden it's turned from a wide open board to a board where there really aren't that many bingo lines, right? There's this Ohm line on the left, there's this marginal possibility of him starting with an E and inside. There's the RE, which is very much a possible line, especially, of course, HastyBot will find any 9 that there is. There's this C, and there's 2 blanks and an S and stuff. There's plenty of bingo tiles. So I think, yeah, I still think Owie is fine. I mean, because bingos with Ohm, which are quite possible with 2 O's, are also going to score a lot, so it takes out the best scoring line. At least if he bingos, I'd much rather it be from this RE, or especially from this C, because if he bingos from this C, he's only scoring like 65, and he'll be giving me back big plays. So I feel much better about my position being up 92 after Owie than being up 95 after Loue, because now, like I said, I'll also have this L to deal with, which is a big scoring lane if he picks up something like Hairbell or Tubewell or something like that. So yeah, I think Owie is fine. Oh, interesting. So he did have coverage here, but he didn't play it. This is interesting because, I mean, after coverage, you're going to need another bingo, right? Because that's only 64, 324, 352. Yeah, he'll still be down probably 50 or 60 after my turn. So we'll need another bingo, but that's actually not such a remote possibility because there's a blank, an S, EIN, LRSA. There's very good bingo tiles. Really, the question is, realistically, after Goer, can he win with 1 bingo? Because if he'd need 2 bingos after Goer, then there's not enough time left. He should just bingo now. So 37, 297, he's going to be down 55. He's going to be down 55, and there just aren't a lot of places to bingo. Like, coverage at least gives him these lanes, which I do like. It gives him this E on the double-double, this E on the triple. I get what he was doing, but yeah, I would have bingoed here. I think Goer, it's still just it's not likely enough after Goer that you're going to be able to score enough with 1 bingo to come back and win this game. I just don't feel it is. So I feel you're going to need 2 bingos either way, and as such, you should take one of them immediately with coverage. Because after coverage, if you draw an 80-point bingo through one of these E's, now you're definitely looking at a very reasonable chance to win. Whereas after Goer, I just don't see that happening. So I would have bingoed here if I were him. Yeah, I saw Jun. I liked Unjam, though, because I wanted to do 2 things. One, I wanted to turn over some more tiles to hopefully draw one of the blanks. And number 2, more importantly, I wanted to leave less than 7 tiles unseen. Unjam leaves 6, with the idea that if he bingos, he'll not only be emptying the bag, but also not be threatening another bingo that I have to worry about, especially being under time pressure. I figured after Unjam, I'm going up 70. If he bingos for 70, with DEL, I'll have decent scoring and flexible combination. I should be able to manage that in game, even with like a 30 seconds or a minute on my clock. I had to imagine. Here, he doesn't have a bingo. Yeah, Boa seems pretty good. I mean, he's got a score, and yeah, leaves 3 in the bag, which is a good number. He has to assume I'm probably going to play off 2 tiles. It wouldn't be terrible to play off 4 for him, just to to force me to play off one tile, which will score less. But I just don't really see a good way to do that. So yeah, I think Boa is fine. And yeah, lucky break for me, especially under time pressure, that I had Weddling available. It's interesting to consider what would have happened if I didn't have Weddling, or if somehow I missed it. Because I'm up 44. I can't empty the bag here. I mean, look at this pool. There's 2 blanks, A-A-E-E-I-L-R-S. I mean, this C, he's going to have something from this C, like, every time. And, I mean, I guess I can't really block it very well without giving something back. So I probably would have just dropped Yao. Probably. So 18, that would have put me up 62. I feel like I would have the edge here. I mean, if he bingos from this E, it's not going to score that much, even if he bingos from the E. Like, if he plays Espalier or something like that, I mean, that'll score 71. Or, I guess 74 if he just uses 1 blank. So if he scores 74, I mean, I'll be down 12. I'll often be bingoing, actually, too. That's one thing to consider. I'll often just be bingoing back and ending the game. And even if not, I may be able to score enough. So yeah, Yao is fine too. Maybe this is better, just to score an extra point, or extra 2 points. Also, if he has 1 tile after he bingos, that's probably going to score less than 2 tiles in general. So this is maybe actually a little bit better. I'm not too worried about giving this back. Like, even if he plays aerials, 68, 91. Because yeah, then I'm only down 4. That should be a pretty easy win. And I think that puts me in better position to respond to bingos here. So yeah, probably Yowl is the play if I don't have this, but that would have been very tough to go through with 30 seconds on the clock. So very, very fortunate break for me that I have this easy bingo, and I know he's going to bingo out, but I know I'll easily withstand it. And 436 to 393 win for me. So overall, pretty well played game. No major mistakes to speak of. Really, the only major mistake was almost playing a phony 3 and wasting a ton of time on the real turn. I ended up making a reasonable play, but it just took way too long. So yeah, time management definitely a big factor, especially in these 15-minute games. But luckily, I came away from this with a win. I didn't end up playing a phony 3 and blowing the game on that, since that would have really been a shame. But yeah, it was a good game overall. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll see you soon for game number 45. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.